Willis P. Jenkins. I am a one-man band, and I've been doing this for, I don't know, about 5 years. Started basically just because it was too hard to get a real band together, and I discovered a looping pedal, and I had a bunch of instruments laying around and thought I'd try to play them all at once. This is a Hohner Clavinet Pianet Duo, and they're not made anymore, unfortunately. They're really kind of hard to find as well. I scored big time a few years ago when I was still living in Portland, Oregon, and went to a Vancouver, Washington pawn shop and just found this there, and it was like in perfect condition and super cheap, so picked it up. And what's really cool about this is that it actually has two kind of electroacoustic mechanical keyboards inside of it. I mean, it has one keyboard but two instruments inside. The Pianet is kind of like a Fender Rhodes or a Wurlitzer electric piano, and that it has these metal tines, or sometimes they're called reeds, metal reeds. And whereas a Wurlitzer or a Fender Rhodes has hammers that strike the tines and they vibrate, and it's picked up with magnetic pickups, this actually has these little like suction cups, these little rubber suction cups. And so when you hit the key, the suction cup actually kind of pulls the tine, and it vibrates until the suction cup comes down on it again. So it creates a kind of a different sound, which I'll show you once I get all this stuff set back up again, because it's not hooked up right now. But it makes an interesting sort of, kind of plucky sound, which is nice. And then also inside of this is a clavinet, and Hohner makes, just straight up clavinets. That's what they're best known for, probably, are the D6 clavinets. They also make just straight up pianets as well. But the clavinet actually has actual strings kind of cutting across diagonally here. And they're about the size of guitar strings. They're pretty much the same thing as guitar strings. And actually you can see cutting across diagonally is the pickup. And it's much like a guitar pickup, just going underneath all the strings. And the clavinet has several different pickups so that it gets all the strings. For each one of these keys you have a string. And that's also kind of, it's almost like an electronic harpsichord, because the strings are kind of plucked as well by like these little pluckers that are attached to the keys down underneath here. You have a few 1/4 inch outs. You have a 1/4 inch out for the clavinet alone, you have a 1/4 inch out for the pianet alone, 1/4 inch out for the two of them together, and then you've got these little sliders here, clavinet, pianet, so you can have them together sound or separately, and do a little bit of mixing. And then there's this little knob here as well, where you can have, the top half of the keyboard, pianet or clavinet, and same with the bottom half. All sorts of different combos. And then, of course, there are all these switches here, which are for the clavinet, just pickup switches like you would have on a guitar. I actually had no idea that these existed, that the combos existed. So it was just a wonderful surprise to discover this thing. This is just the clavinet sound on the Duo alone. And you actually asked earlier typical problems that go wrong with this. One thing I neglected to mention is that sometimes on this guy, not all of the pickup switches work all the time. They usually work, but sometimes they go out on me, and I haven't quite figured out why that is. It might be because I'm actually running this on a 9-volt battery right now. I haven't been able to find an adapter. It does take an adapter, but I haven't been able to find one that, that works for this thing. So it could just be a matter of batteries running out or something, but right now, unfortunately, the pickup switches aren't working. So this is pretty much the only sound that I'm able to get out of the, yeah, that's right. Pretty much the only sound I'm able to get out of this thing right now. And then that's kind of, I guess, the thing. The more stereotypical clavinet sound is usually going through a wah-wah pedal. So. So that's that. And then you've got the pianet, which you can do alone as well. So I don't know if you can really get a sense for the fact that the tines are being plucked here, but there's kind of that little, you know, a little bit of a sound there on the attack that I like. And then, of course, you can do the two of them together, which I do in one of the songs. Kind of a cool sound. Especially since my strings on the clavinet aren't completely in tune right now, so there's a little bit of wobbliness there to the sound. Kind of like those two sounds together, and you know, you can give a little bit of an edge to that pianet sound by just having the clavinet up a little, or give a little bit of body to the string sound of the clavinet, just by having that pianet down in volume. So all sorts of different sounds that you can get with it. But actually, after I got this thing, I kind of thought it would be fun to try to get different sorts of sounds, you know, that aren't the sort of typical clavinet sounds. And one that I actually really like is the mute. There's a little slide muter that actually mutes the strings of the clavinet. With the mute off, able to ring freely, but you can slide this up a little bit, and it almost sounds like one of those Japanese string instruments, the koto. I think that the most common thing that goes wrong, from what I've been able to tell, just, you know, like talking to people and you know, surfing the web, the little pluckers for the clavinet strings start to kind of wear down, or they kind of actually like just look like they melt, really. And when that happens, they get sticky. Like the tip wears down, and then like below the tip, it's kind of stickier rubber plastic material or something, and then so those little pluckers can stick to the strings. So when you release the key, it can make this really clicky sound. So fortunately, there's a place that sells little replacement pluckers, and they're pretty easy to put on. From what I've been able to tell, like most of the pieces that are most susceptible to problems, there are people who make replacement pieces, because there are enough people who really love clavinets and pianets to make that happen.